Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Issues, a podcast in which I, A.E. Stuvey, interview fans and pros in the world of comic books about their favorite single issues of any comics. Today's guest is Jeffrey Ketchum, who I've known for like 14 years. We met at the local comic book shop, Legend Comics and Coffee, here in Omaha, the Omaha area where we both live. And we don't see each other a lot in person, but we talk online quite a bit.
Yep.
I like to think we're friends. I don't
Yeah.
know
Oh,
about
yeah,
you.
absolutely. Oh, yeah. No, the fact that we don't see each other much is mainly I don't get out much.
I same. And if I'm getting out, it's with a purpose. And once I complete that purpose, I get back home.
Yep.
That's we're of a certain age, you know? We
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
okay. Well, like I said, I've known Jeffrey for quite a long time, and I would tell you a whole bunch of stuff about him, but I think it's better to hear it from him. So, if you could please tell us a little bit about your history with comic books,
Sure.
and then we will move into your top three.
Yeah. So my history with comics is yeah. When I was in like fourth or fifth grade, I was put in remedial reading. They were going to hold me back, and the summer between that grade and the next, I bought a box of comics from my best friend's older brother, and it actually turned out to be the entire run of Secret Wars 2. Not the good Secret Wars, not the one, and no, not the Hickman one either.
Mhm.
But the one where Spider-Man teaches the Beyonder how to poop.
Comics are weird, you guys.
Yeah, and I read them all that summer. There were some other ones in there too.
Mhm.
I literally can't remember what was in that box, but by the time that summer was over, I had my own pull file at the local comic book shop.
Mhm.
I was reading at a collegiate level by the time they tested me again in school. This was like fifth or sixth grade, and I, had already graduated to Douglas Adams novels and Stephen King, which probably says a lot about me now, reading those books at that age.
Mhm.
But yeah, so fast forward, I read comics off and on all through high school. Like most people, kind of got away from it for a little bit. I had a roommate in college that did get me back into comics with some of the early '90s Vertigo or mid to late '90s Vertigo books, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Um, Lives happened, change happened. I had another career, and then I got when I went back to school in 2007 for writing. I said I want to do comics, and so some minor success. I have one 8-page story collected in an anthology with the local publisher Carl Smith in his "Be Careful What You Wish For" anthology.
Great story, by
Uh,
the way.
Thank you.
I have that book back here
Oh,
somewhere.
nice. Yeah,
I don't know, it's back there.
yeah. That was my box full of trouble with the amazing Dustin Radke. Um, I taught myself how to letter doing that, which was
That
fun.
is no easy feat.
No, no.
But
And I suggest anyone who writes comics should letter at least once because it's also a great editing tool.
like, oh, that's not going to fit in the word bubble. Cut.
Nope. Cut it. Oh, look, it reads so much cleaner now. Um, and I've had some prose published. I had a short story in an anthology called Beyond the Levee, called Craft and Chaos. I write comic book uh, reviews and commentary for the Two Headed Nerd Comic Book Podcast on their website, mainly about Marvel books called Marvel Lake House or Tales from the Marvel Lake House,
Mhm.
where I review things from the Marvel app. And I've after my I interviewed you in my podcast in 2020, having written, where I talked to writers and creators about whether they like writing or they like having written.
But
That
I
taught me
wouldn't
that
know those.
I like that taught me that I like talking about writing more than actually doing it. So in 2023, I took on now who is probably my biggest partner in
Mhm.
crime, David Nesbitt. I took on the task of editing his novel,
Mhm.
his second novel, Evolution 2, and I edited that novel for him, and we published it and sold it at the con that next year. I started working for Annika Bazi White, Baziafia is his writing name, with Sensiel Studios out of Des Moines, editing work for him. So I've kind of become a freelance editor.
Oh, that's cool.
One of the pieces that I edited for Bazi, he turned into a motion comic, and I got to go to the premiere of that in Des Moines.
Oh, that's
So I got to walk my first red carpet, which was fun.
oh, fancy.
Yeah. So yeah, I've kind of leaned into being an editor. I've gotten back into writing recently. I'm actually writing I'm writing performance pieces because I work with a spoken word group now called with my partner David Nesbitt, who I
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, called the Samurai of Spoken Word. And we
Cool.
perform primarily at Jake's in Benson, but we also perform other places. We recently did a show at Anna's Place in downtown Omaha. But
Cool.
as I described the Samurai spoken word, we're like if the Moth Radio Hour started a D&D campaign,
That's amazing.
because we're all weirdos and nerds and geeks, but we just get up and kind of do storytelling,
Hmm.
um, or poetry or comedy or talk about whatever's on our mind. That's where I tend to flex my political chops and get a little spicy with things, which is fun.
That sounds
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, it was good. It's been a good time, and it's been a good. Dave invited me to join because he was like, "You need to write more," and I'm like, "Well," and he's like, "You need a deadline to write more. You're performing this weekend," and
Oh,
I'm like, "Okay."
wow. So
Yeah,
when you go up and you do this, do you have a script that you
yeah,
have to read from, or do you
yeah.
memorize it, or is it?
No, I usually go up with a tablet and put
Hmm.
it on the mic stand and read from there. But I've found that my delivery gets better the less I rely on the page.
Yeah, yeah.
Read
It's
from
always
the
nice
heart.
to like have it there as like a
Yeah,
safety net,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I get it. I get it.
But yeah, like my most recent piece was talking about a trip I took a couple years ago to Mexico,
Mhm.
and uh, eating street tacos and feeling like Tony Bourdain, and then finding out that vacation happened exactly 3 weeks before Tony Bourdain passed away.
Wow. So it's one of those where you mess with people's emotions, they're laughing, and then
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, it was also this very kind of kismet thing too, where I was like kind of telling everyone like now is the time that we have to start like acting more like Tony Bourdain. We need
Mhm.
to stop being tourists and start being travelers, even
Mhm.
if it's in your own town, even if it's in your own life. Be active, take risks, and
Go
go
to a
hang out
restaurant you've never gone to before.
and
Like,
go hang out with people that don't look like you, don't talk like you, and don't come from anywhere. Yeah, but
mm,
I digress.
I'll drink to that. Yeah, we should probably talk about comics, I suppose.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So your top three. We're
Top
gonna go
three.
three, two, one. So let's just dive in. Give
All
us
right.
number three.
Number three, Hellblazer, number 40 something. It's from the it's from the dangerous it's from
Number
the dangerous
42.
habit. Yeah, number 42, 1991, written by Garth Ennis, and it was from the Dangerous Habits story arc where John Constantine, famous bastard magician of the dark side of the DC universe, at this point now firmly in the Vertigo publishing line,
Mhm.
has discovered he has lung cancer, and he has turned over every rock he can. He has called in every chip, every favor, trying to get out from under this thing. And he's kind of on a last ditch effort to go visit his old buddy Brennan in Ireland. And, Brennan's one of the best magicians he knows.
Mhm.
And he shows up, and Brennan's just kind of not letting John get to the point of his meeting, and he wants to like talk about all the stuff he's doing, and he just seems really almost too cheerful, and
Mhm.
he takes him down to this well under his castle because of course he's got a castle, and
Naturally.
yeah, even it cuts even mentions is like of course Brennan would have a castle. I'm not going to ask how he got it. And he turns out that this spring, this well under the castle, was supposedly baptized by one of the first popes.
Okay.
And so he had been trying to figure out how to turn water into wine, but being Irish, he had to turn it into the most perfect stout ever made. And he casts a spell. He pulls out this board. He puts a pentacle on it with these candles, and as long as the candles stay lit, this spring is now basically generating the most pure, wonderful Guinness you could ever have.
All right, I'm in. That sounds good.
And so they just pretty much go about getting pissed and just drink the night away until they basically both confess to each other that they're both dying.
Hmm.
And that they were each going to ask the other one to try to help them out. And it's this kind of joke that it's like, well, we're both screwed.
It's very
And
O. Henry, right?
yeah, exactly. And Brennan ends up passing away that night. And John gets up, and as he's getting ready to leave, there's a knock at the door, and it's the devil. And it turns out that in his attempts to try to save himself and also to make this wonderful spell, Brennan had sold his soul to the devil. And the
Dude.
contract states that if, as long as the devil can collect his soul by midnight, and the devil even mentions that he's like, everyone tries to put a loophole in the deal, and they all try.
Mhm.
And Constantine's kind of like, yep, they do. Well, you got him dead to rights, so how about one last drink, before you
Mhm.
take him? And he offers him the beer. And as the devil drinks the beer, he kicks the table over with the candles, and it goes right back to holy water as the devil's just chugging this pint down, and he just takes out the devil and saves his friend.
From an eternity in
And
hell.
yeah, from an eternity hell. So he saves his eternal soul. And as he sits down, and he sits down, and he's just kind of like, I did it. And the reason why that's great is because you know I didn't read single issues for a long time. I read it pretty much in trade.
Hmm.
So when I was thinking of the exercise you gave me, I was thinking of what are the chapters that stand out to me.
Hmm.
And this one stands out particularly because of this great, like, getting one over on the devil.
Hmm.
And
Always a good
also,
story, right?
yeah, and also the way he gets one over on the devil is by not doing magic,
Hmm.
you know, but by just being by knowing about magic, knowing, there's this kind of clever, everyman solution, which Constantine is very much the everyman magician.
Hmm.
He's the type of guy that, he's not going to pull out the ceremonial robes and the candles and everything else like that. He's going to use a Zippo lighter, a cigarette, and smudge something on the wall real quick while
Yeah.
he's muttering under his breath. To him, a summoning spell is "come here, you cunt." You know,
Dr. Fate, he is not.
exactly. And that's what I love about him. He's irascible. He's a bastard, and
Hmm.
but he's a bastard, and he's the first one to tell you that too.
Hmm.
So that's what I love about that issue, is just it encapsulates Constantine as a character in such a beautiful way, while still giving him kind of a good news, bad news, happy ending, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah, yeah. And we were talking about it before. Like, it's not really a redemption arc because
No.
he's still John Constantine. He's still kind of a bastard.
Well, and at the end of that issue, he's still dying.
Yeah, and he's still but he
He's still, not only is he still dying, but he also just pissed off the devil.
right, which oof, but he saved his friend, right?
Yes.
Like
Yep.
it, so he's not all bad. And
Yeah, exactly.
I like characters that are that sort of complex, right?
Right, right, right.
He's not Superman, but he's not Lex Luthor either.
No, 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 not at all.
Okay, that's a solid number three. So, the theory is they keep getting better and better. So,
Yep.
how are you gonna top that? What's your number two?
Well, number two, I'm going to kill John Constantine in a way. So in number two is Planetary Volume One, Number Seven, by Warren Ellis and John Cassaday. Uh, I know that people have thoughts about Warren Ellis nowadays. We won't get into that.
we
This has
we
been my
didn't
favorite
know
comic
any of that about
at the
him.
at the time. No,
Yeah.
uh, but this is my favorite comic book of all time
Hmm.
because it's a comic book about comics.
Okay.
So every issue of the first story arc of Planetary, Volume One, is done in a different genre. So there's a kaiju episode. There's, like I said, there's a John Woo action ghost story issue.
Hmm.
There's a 1950s weird science type
Oh, cool.
issue with like giant praying mantises, like they live or they came from outer space, like the classic like drive-in movie thing.
Hmm.
There's a homage to the Fantastic Four. The main villains are an homage to the Fantastic Four, but evil.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, they're called the Four, and they are terrifying. But the thing that's amazing about this particular issue, number seven, is like I said, I got back into comics in around 1996 with the Vertigo books,
Hmm.
and this issue is an homage to those Vertigo British comics.
Hmm. And
The
that's
issues
for our listeners. That's like Sandman, Swamp Thing,
Sandman,
Hellblazer.
Swamp Thing, Animal Man, uh, Transmetropolitan Preacher. Um, I mean, yeah, you could look up, Vertigo comics, and
Hmm.
I mean, they've got a long history of great books, but they were primarily British authors. It was the late '90s British invasion of comics creators that came over from largely 2001.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, Came over from that great storied publication. But this one it takes place where Chiquita Wagner tells the new member of the team, Elijah Snow, that Jack Carter is dead, and he's like, "Who's Jack Carter?" And it's like, Jack Carter was England in the '80s, and that's how they describe him,
Hmm.
and they describe him as this kind of rake, irascible con man and a magician, and it's very much an homage or a pastiche, an analog to John Constantine.
Hmm.
And he's passed away. And the thing I love about it is at the funeral, there's this great big splash page that shows all of these characters, and John Cassidy just draws the shit out of
I mean,
this great big panel. I'll try to send it to you after the episode where you can
okay.
see it, of just all these characters that are just obviously pastiches of. And there's this great bit where, I mean, this is a very talky issue. There's not a whole lot of action that happens until the very end,
Hmm.
but it's mainly Chiquita and the drummer bringing Elijah Snow up to speed on what was England in the '80s in this kind of fictional world where presumably all these things happened.
Hmm.
Everything that happened in Sandman, everything that happened in Swamp Thing, everything that happened in Animal Man, and all of those things actually really happen. And it's just a great issue. And there's this wonderful twist at the end of the issue. I don't want to spoil for anyone, but it does bring up an homage to another famous Warren Ellis character that suggests that in his mind they're the same character. So it's really, really cool. But yeah, so that's what I love about it. I love Planetary as a whole, not only for Warren Ellis's great, like kind of meta arc and
Hmm.
his use of the pastiche of what I call the cynical optimist,
Hmm.
which is that bastard of a main character that is going to make things better because there's no other option.
I think we need
But
more of them these days, don't we?
yeah, exactly. But also Cassaday's art. I
Mhm.
mean, the way Cassaday draws people in this way that every individual human face is a unique face, not just standard brown haired guy
Yeah.
A and brown haired guy B,
The superhero jaw and
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, so much so that the one of the characters in Planetary, the drummer, he uses himself as the model.
That's amazing. I
So whenever you see the drummer drawn in Planetary, it's himself.
do you know? I'm just curious. Do you know why he did that, or was that something that him and the writer like cooked up, or?
No, I think it was just I think he just liked the character. He liked the character. He needed, and he it was basically a character that was roughly his age and roughly his build.
Hmm.
When Ellis described it, I've read some of Ellis's early scripts for it, and there's nothing that really says. Ellis is very loose about describing characters as far as features. He describes more ages and clothing
Hmm.
than anything else, but like skin type, everything else, he's very neutral on all of
Okay.
that.
Like lets the artist kind of play.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
The only thing is he does have a penchant for characters in white suits. So much so that he's written three of them across three different superhero universes. Uh,
What are they?
Jenny Sparks in the Authority,
Okay.
Elijah Snow in Planetary, and Moon Knight,
Oh yeah.
because he created the Mister Knight persona
Hmm. With the suit.
for Moon Knight with the
Yep.
suit. Yeah. So he did that in Secret Avengers.
Hmm.
But yeah, he likes his white suits. But yes, that's my number two. Like I said, Planetary is my favorite comic book. It's not my number one single issue because trying to pick a single issue of Planetary out of the 27 is like trying to pick my favorite kid.
Yeah.
And this isn't my favorite story arc or favorite trade paperback uh, podcast. This is my favorite single issue.
It's funny you say that because you are not the first person to be like, man, single issue? Really?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sorry, those are the rules. I gotta
Uh-huh.
stick by that. That's
That's what makes this podcast so wonderfully unique.
like it's called issues, man. I'm sorry.
Well, I've got plenty of those. Oh, that's a different podcast. Sorry.
Okay, all right. Well, so number three, number two, solid choices.
Mhm.
And now we're into number one, which I'm very excited to talk about. So
Yeah. Well, in homage to my other comic book job of writing for Two-Headed Nerd and Tales from the Marvel Lake House, I got to go with a Marvel book. So I'm going to go with Hawkeye #6 by Matt Fraction and David Aja. And the reason why I went with this one is because uh, traditionally I have been very much a writer focused comic book reader.
mhm.
And it hasn't been until like the last couple years, last probably 5-10 years, that I've really started paying attention to artists.
Okay.
Mainly when I figured out how expensive they are to get to do your
Sure.
work.
Right.
And then on top of that, when I started reviewing comics, I really wanted to kind of be a full fledged reviewer.
Okay.
And David Aha's work in Hawkeye is amazing. And him combined with Matt Fraction and what they did with the medium in this book across all the issues of their run.
Hmm.
But I remember this was the first one of that run that I remembered, oh, they're doing things with the medium that's different.
Yeah.
Because what he did with the timeline, with like deconstructing the timeline, so the entire book takes place out of sequence in time. And you
Hmm.
have to go off of these clocks that show up earlier on the pages and figuring out, oh, this happened earlier. And there's the sequence with the arrow in the satellite dish
Yeah. Where you have to
that you
follow it.
see and also you see it at one point in the satellite dish, and then like another page later it's not there, so you're like, oh, this happened before.
Hmm.
It's just, and it's amazing. And I'm an archery nerd, so like I like all characters that use a bow and arrow.
Oh, cool.
And Aja is one of the first people to actually, like, in my opinion, not screw up the archery.
Okay. Okay.
you know,
I don't know anything about it. What like how?
yeah. So there's like the style of bow that Hawkeye uses is a traditional Western style recurve Olympic style bow,
Okay.
where the arrow goes on the left hand side of the bow, and you draw the string back with three fingers, one on top of the nock and two under.
Okay. Translate
And
that.
there's
Okay.
there's so many so many writers or so many artists that'll draw it with his hand on the other side of the string. They'll draw the arrow on the right side of the bow, which there
Hmm.
are styles of archery that do that, but it not with his type of bow. And
And
it's
you
just
could tell that by like looking at the way the bow is drawn. Like that is
yeah,
an Olympic style bow. It
yeah,
needs.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah, and it's just a pet peeve. But the thing I love is like the very first issue of that run, issue one of Hawkeye by the two of them. Aja draws a diagram
Hmm.
of how Clint holds the bow, and it's this very clinical, almost catalog style or almost
Hmm.
like instructional style of artwork, and it's just tells me that they've all paid attention. They're talking about how this would work, and stuff like that, and it's really cool. The other thing I love about that issue, the issue in specific, is the I mean, this is kind of over the whole run, but the low stakes of it all. I mean, the two things that Hawkeye has to like accomplish in this issue is setting up a DVR and then trying to not get his ass kicked or his building overrun by the local gang
Hmm. The
and
tracksuit mafia.
the tracksuit mafia. And the way that this simultaneously becomes super big stakes and also like to the point that the DVR is actually kind of bigger stakes than anything else. And also, I would say that this is kind of the turning point for the whole book. This is the arc that cements what Hawkeye is going to do, what Clint's going to do for the rest of that run, you
Yeah.
know. And I say I'm not an art guy, and this book made me become an art guy because it has not only is it my single favorite issue, it's my single favorite panel in
Oh,
all of comics,
which
which is
one?
the last panel, which is a full page panel
Hmm.
of Clint standing in the snow with his bow in front of the building, just basically guarding it.
Hmm. Okay, I
And
remember
it's
that.
and it's his classic wooden bow from his earlier Avengers run, the one that he tried to give Kate as
Hmm.
like a going away gift earlier in the issue that she shoved back in front of him and said, and I love the line, this thing you're doing, it's
Hmm.
everything it's everything I hate about you. Or no, it's everything that sucks about you is what she said. And
Everything
it's
is.
true. I mean, that's the thing is like, you know, Clint's a screw up.
Hmm.
He's an f up. He but he's also human, and
Hmm.
kind of like Constantine before, but less of a bastard because
Hmm.
Clint is always trying to make the right move,
Yeah, he just screws up
always
a
trying
lot.
to do it, but he just does it in well, he does it in a very marksman archer way, which is the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
Hmm.
So I'm just going to go for that thing,
Hmm.
regardless of the consequences. You know,
It makes for an
oh,
interesting
you're going to kick my friends out of the building? I'll buy the building. You
character.
know, and it's just these impetuous. Can you even do that? Do you have the money? Yeah, I got the money. Are you sure you have the money?
Are you
Yeah, I got the money.
sure?
Yeah, it's you know, and that's what I love about Clint. It's like everything he does, you could probably ask him, "Are you sure?" and not like the answer, but you know, but it is. It's a very
He
like
is sure, but he
yeah,
shouldn't be.
yeah. But it's like see the target, hit the target.
Yeah.
That's how he thinks about everything,
Hmm.
and that's what I love about the book. And I mean, and to me, that was like that book is like the bellwether for me as far as like, oh, this is what Marvel Comics can be.
Yeah.
This is where we need to get back to with Marvel Comics. It's
Yeah.
like these single creators a lot of people talk about Marvel fatigue right now, and
Hmm.
like on Two Headed Nerd and stuff, we talk about Marvel's just not hitting the mark, and it's like even with the movies, the MCU movies and things like that, and it's because we don't have these singular creators
Hmm.
that are like have a take and are like
Do you
you know
do you do you think that's like too much editorial interference at this
oh
point, or
absolutely, yeah. It's too much editorial interference. It's too much corporate interference.
Mm. It's a full package, that one.
Yeah,
Like, and the God, just no, and I'm sorry, I know I just said we have to wrap up, and we really do.
yeah.
But I just wanted to add from a art perspective, I think what they did with not just like the fine art of,
Hmm.
drawing comics, but like the design of the book,
Yes,
like the design,
it's
just
top art. It's wonderful.
it's
Yeah,
so good.
yeah.
Okay,
Definitely check it out.
definitely. All right, man. Well, this has been fun. Thank you for sharing.
Awesome.
And yeah, maybe someday you'll come back and share three more, huh?
Absolutely. I got three more.
Excellent. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, review, share, tell your friends, get me some advertisers so I can quit my day job. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Talk to you later.
Bye.